All right. Imperative versus declarative. I know it's 2026. Why should we bother? How do we write code today? Just simply use AI to generate that for us. But coding is not that simple. Coding is more like organizing your house. You can imagine you have a few housemates living in the same house. One people is going to organize it. So you do better put the things that everyone knows rather than only you knows, which saves the time. That's what I call cost effective. What do I mean and how do we achieve that? I think we should follow common sense. What I mean common sense like design principles. Based on that, we know where to find the code and you know where to put the code in. Secondly, the code ideally needs to be robust. It should handle different exceptions, edge cases, error handlings, all kind of things. And also it should be flexible to grow as time goes by. And it should be easy for new devs to put on add-ons or new scenarios or new extensions on top of that. So today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use one function, and I will start with very imperative way, then gradually step by step to move it towards more declarative. Then it's up to you guys to decide which one is better and which one suits for what scenarios. So before I start, for those of you who doesn't know what is imperative and what is declarative, imperative basically focus more on how to achieve a result step by step by giving instructions. But on the contrary, more declarative code focus on what has been done, what is the outcome. So it's more readable. I'm using an example. If you are telling a story that you travel to China, it's probably gonna take 1 hour or two. But if the listener just asks for bullet points, that's more declarative. On the other way, it's more imperative. Now let's move on to the code example. So this is one of the Jira card I have done in the backend. So basically, it added an validation for certain scenarios. Okay, so just to make this more visual, I'm using our compare plans page, and each card is an energy product, and each product could is not required. It could comes with the add-ons, for example, internet offers or like everyday rewards points, and this function is for that purpose. It does some validation against the add-ons that's being picked. If it hits certain scenarios, we should delete that selection and hence return false. Otherwise, we return true. So there are a few rules. For example, add-on must be in allow type. If not, we return false. Rule number 2, the product type needs to be valid. And rule number 3, the schema. We have schema validation against the add-on as well. This is very imperative code style. This is probably 90% of what people see. Simply, we have early exit and a few if-else cases, and hence, yeah, the job is done. That makes sense. It's easy to debug, which is readable. I think makes sense for especially for junior developers. But is there a better way to achieve a same goal? What if I make this more rule-based? So we know there are 3 rules. Only if all those rules met, we returns true. Hence, we could group them like this. So I have rule number 1, rule number 2, and the rule number 3. The benefit for that is it's hard to get missed. But a few things I still don't like. For example, the if case. Also, it more looks like inexperienced coding. So to make this better, why not? We utilize Kotlin safe call operator for now handling, or Elvis operator, and that which provides the default value, and my favorite part, the scope functions, and we can use let rather than if else, and reduce the nesting. So after this change, we had a new version, which looks like this. I would say this is more compact and easy to read, and there are less code. It just looks more elegant. But people from the functional programming world would argue, is this really functional programming? If we are restricted about FP, we should express everything in function. Also, the function needs to be pure. It should not have side effects. On top of that, the object should not be immutable. So it should always be immutable by default. And the last thing, some nice patterns like the code composition or chaining would make your code really elegant and super readable. And here is our last version, which saved a few more lines of code and looks super neat. And it's also readable as well. If add-on is not now, we execute the following rules and get the result. Otherwise, we take true by default if it add-ons now. Great. Okay, to sum up, imperative versus a declarative code, each has different benefits and drawbacks. I think for low-level programming or program that values performance, imperative code is useful. Also for front end, especially for like UI rendering, you see lots of sequential based, process based code, which makes sense because it doesn't require that much pattern. There's not much reusability or scalability concerned. Everything is tailored for that page. So yeah, imperative makes sense. It's easy to debug and it's testable. Yeah, it just simply makes sense. But for code that more focused on, for example, filtering, mapping, reduce, aggregation, and logic handling, and the future scalability, I would say declarative is the winner in this case. So what I'm going to talk about is, even though we have AI to generate code for us, but the pattern matters. We need to choose the right pattern, the right style for different scenarios. For now, you still need an experienced developer to drive the AI and achieve the goal. So after all those I mentioned, I would say coding is still interesting. There was a time I lost the hope for coding because I think coding becomes such an easy subject. Everyone could do that, but the more you dive into it, the more beauty you dig it out, and you find human being is still useful in the long run.